Hello and welcome to episode number 90 of the NerdProQuo Podcast. So yeah, we are almost at 100. There's probably going to be a big whole special thing happening for episode number 100. Cover a couple things in this episode, but before we get to that, some quick plugs. The plugs almost always that we do. That is Union Square Slam, which is now on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. $5 cover, all ages. There's a workshop at 6 p.m. The feature this Tuesday is Ebony Hogan, so you should go check that out. As always, if you don't know the address by now, you should. That is, 208 West 13th Street, room 10. At the Bureau of General Services Queer Division in the LGBT Center, which is also an awesome bookstore, so you should go do that. Also, every Friday is the Living Room Comedy Show. I think I might have said that I was going to be there this Friday, but this past Friday, but I was not. Might be there this coming Friday. But if not, you should go check that out anyway. It is free. It is at 8 p.m. every Friday at the Postmark Cafe, which is 6th Street between 4th and 5th Avenue in Park Slope, Brooklyn. This episode, Yves Antenor and me do a little roundup of a couple things. The first one is the Civil War preview. Wanted to discuss a little bit about the Spider-Man appearance in that preview, and we also go over a little bit of Daredevil, although at the time that I had recorded this episode, I had not, in fact, watched the entire series. I stayed up till 5 a.m. last night. I have now watched the entire series, so that probably a whole discussion of that will probably happen, either go up next week or the following week, because we are probably not excitedly, but a bunch of us are probably going to see Batman v Superman, and we're not terribly excited about it, but we're going to do it anyway, so we probably will have a review of that as well in the next couple of weeks or so. In the meantime, enjoy this episode, which is episode 90 of the NerdProQuo Podcast. I realize a couple of people pointed out that if you're updating it through your phone, through a subscription, that one or two people have been having problems through that it hasn't been updating properly. I'll probably have to email iTunes about that and see what's going on. But in the meantime, you should be able to go to the website and download it directly from the site. If you have a Mac, I think you have to do an option thing on the download link. And if you have a PC, you have to right-click on the download link. If you just click on the download link, I think it just opens up a separate window. So if you want to download the actual file, you have to either right-click or option-click on the download link on the website. In the meantime, enjoy this episode number 90 of the NerdProQuo Podcast. Hooray. We're just jumping right in here.
On the ruse!
I think he just clipped the mic. So yes, the two things.
Welcome, America,
Yeah.
and the international community. Good afternoon on this lovely Saturday.
It's a lovely Saturday. So there were two things that and one of them I didn't expect that we were gonna end up talking about, but it's just like we have no willpower and we have to so definitely the Civil War preview,
Of course.
and then a little bit of Daredevil.
As I'll try to hold back because I binged through until 6 o'clock this morning. Have to rewatch a few episodes because I kind of fell asleep a few episodes here and there at 3 o'clock, so I had to power through because I'm committed. Committed.
So let's start, I think, with the Civil War preview, just because because I have conflicting feelings about it, but I'm going to
Conflicting feelings about what? You got a preview of Spider-Man.
That's what I have conflicting feelings about, actually.
What? Let's go. I mean, Spider-Man and his introduction is what made this trailer for me. What's your fucking problem?
It's okay. I don't have a problem with it necessarily. Here's my thing.
Keep in mind, America and the international community, nothing makes Jamie happy. Nothing.
No.
He sours on everything. Piece of shit.
No. Okay. I am very excited about this movie. And it's interesting because I actually heard on another podcast someone, it was Nerd or Mouth, they were discussing both the Civil War preview and the Ghostbusters preview, which I ranted about last week. Basically, if you didn't hear that episode, or Eve, if you didn't hear that episode, it's basically me going, I don't understand why I kind of understand why everyone is so upset, but I don't understand the level of upset that people were about that preview.
It's a preview, but I'm hoping that the movie will
exactly
do the franchise justice.
Yeah. I don't think it will, but I think it'll be a good on its own terms thing, honestly. But I did that to death last week. So Civil War preview. Well, there's two things. I'm still really excited about it. I was really excited to see Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make that clear. But there are two things that, and this other podcast brought this up, and I was like, oh, I had been thinking about that, but it's that the character who did have more parts in this preview, but his success in this preview, in this movie, kind of dictates whether people will go see his solo movie, because he's the only character aside from Black Widow, which we're never going to get a solo movie for.
Yeah.
Because
Hollywood is sexist.
Yeah. Is Black Panther.
Okay.
So instead of taking this last preview as an opportunity, you did see more of the Black Panther.
Yeah.
But instead of taking that opportunity to feature him,
you're focusing on Spider-Man.
By having Spider-Man in the preview, you take all of the focus away from Black Panther, and anyone going to see the Black Panther movie kind of will be based on whether people are excited, whether he is good in this film.
Okay, I see your point.
And having Spider-Man and as much as I'm excited about that, as much as it in the preview excited me, having Spider-Man in this preview means that you take all of the spotlight off a character who probably needs and deserves the spotlight.
But you have
more
to
than
understand
Spider-Man.
the purpose of the trailer. It's to get the masses excited to
Yes.
see this. Nerds know Black Panther. The mass audience who, simple moviegoers, people who just want to see Daredevil because it's Ryan Reynolds and it's an R-rated film.
Yeah.
They don't know Black Panther.
But it doesn't matter because
Spider-Man they know. So Spider-Man could be the huge launching point to compelling people to want to watch this film.
I disagree with that, because anyone who saw any of the previous movies, you're still excited because you now know that from this preview and the other previews, you now know that Vision, Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man, and War Machine are all in it and all play major roles. And you still
but they're not marquee characters that people would want to see. They see these films because, hey, it's nice sci-fi special effects,
right.
House, whatever. But Spider-Man is his first introduction to the MCU.
Yeah. Which I'm excited
Look at this character world. Come see this movie. That's what the whole purpose of that trailer is all about.
Yeah. But that being said, even though from all of the reports, if you read all of the reports beforehand, you knew he was going to be in the movie, it still kind of ruined, for me, it kind of
Nerds knew he was going to be in the movie.
It kind of ruins the excitement of his appearance in the movie. I think they should have. I think there are some things that, and this is an issue I've been having with a lot of these previews lately, is the studios get so scared or whatever that.
Sorry, world. Sorry.
Is it the studios get so scared that people won't see it unless they show all of these things, that suddenly that is a moment in the film for people who didn't know about it that would have been so amazing to be a surprise in the film. And now We know already.
Surprise in the internet age. Come on, no one is ever surprised.
Even
You
if
have
it's
to
a
go
surprise,
out of your
but
way to shut down the internet to actually be surprised by what you see in the film.
But I do think it pulls away some of the excitement of what is that gonna be. I mean, the other side of that is now you know, and now you've seen the costume, and now now you kind of have a thing of like, okay, so it might not suck, although I'm sure there always are people who are like, he looks terrible, blah 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 blah.
First of all, there's no surprise when it comes to Spider-Man. You know the deal. You've seen previous iterations of him.
Right.
The real surprise is how are they going to portray Black Panther? Hold that card to the chest.
Okay.
And wait for the film. I mean, because we don't know. I'm not familiar with the character. I don't know if he has superpowers or he's like a more teched out version of Batman, another Batman trope in the Marvel universe.
What's interesting about him in the comics is he's kind of all of those things.
What do you mean all of those things? Batman, a mix of Batman and who else?
Well, here's the thing, like his history, the history of Black
Panther. Because I know he's a ruler of a powerful Black kingdom. That's the only
and also because of the money in it, also a tech giant. Yeah. So he also has the history of like the Black Panther in like his tribe in the comic books has kind of some mystical stuff behind it too. So he not only except it isn't like drugs. He's Captain America, like an African Captain America.
Okay. Enhanced strength.
Enhanced things. But he's also the African Iron Man because Wakanda,
of the technology,
all the technology. Yeah. So when you said those things, like no, he's all of those things, which is what I think makes him such a kind of badass character. And like this cool thing is like you kind of get like, it's like he has the tech suit and all of that stuff, but he also kind of has his own enhanced abilities depending on who's written him and like how much of whatever runs of it they're pulling from. He's kind of all of those things, and that's what I think makes him kind of a badass and kind of an interesting character. Is that like you get this black superhero who is essentially just like the best version of all of the all of the other superheroes who've been portrayed so far, if he's handled right, and we'll see whether that happens in the movie or not.
And he comes from a nation who's never been conquered by a white man.
Yeah.
So
and he's like he is the emissary to the UN for his. Like,
so are they making a movie based on his character,
yes,
or are they not?
Yes.
Okay.
No, there's definitely a solo movie that is, from what I've understand, is happening. And what makes that interesting or kind of weird is that unlike all of the other characters, and it's in pre-production. I don't know if they've started shooting it or not. It'll probably still go through. It's definitely happening. But it's like as of us talking now,
we're talking about like 2018 release.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what makes that troubling is you're introducing him in a movie, which they did in the other films, granted. But
they introduced his country, Wakanda. They've mentioned him. They've mentioned him in the last Avengers movie, but they didn't really feature him.
Well, no. What I mean is that he's the only character who is essentially even though it's a quote unquote Captain America movie, he's being introduced in a team movie essentially.
It has to be a team movie because Captain America really is not a compelling character, in my opinion. On
his own, yeah.
With other characters, yes. So you need a Nick Fury and a Black Widow to help support his character.
Well, yeah, he needs. Well, the thing about it's not that he is. It's interesting that you say that because it's not that he's like fundamentally uninteresting as a character.
He kind of is. I mean, come on, he's Superman. He's the greatest Boy Scout of all, and that's kind of lame.
And he, you can only make him interesting he only becomes an interesting character if you're bouncing him off. Yeah, if you give him other people to bounce off of, which is why like Winter Soldier ends up being so great, is because you can bounce him off of Falcon, you can bounce him off of Black Widow, like he only shines as compared to
more edgier characters who could point out the fact that he does not swear.
That being said, like I said, I'm not excited about Spider-Man.
I mean, it's a trailer. I mean, who cares about a trailer as long as the final product is strong? And I have a good feeling that the movie will be.
And the other thing and this is a nerd issue, and it's not something because honestly, I don't get that upset about these things, but I don't know why they keep having feeling a need to modify his costume.
Well, I mean, it's marketing. You need to sell action figures and video games, so you have to tweak the costume up, and plus you have to differentiate this Spider-Man versus
you do.
The Sony one.
Yeah. Although
I just like the eyes. It has just a very old school look to it, and the fact that the eyes get bigger and smaller, that was a nice.
See, I don't know whether I like that. I like that. Well,
I mean, it's very true to the character.
It is and it isn't.
In the comic books, I mean.
It is and it isn't. It depends on who's drawing him.
Early versions of Spider-Man, I think
But here's the thing: in the comic books, that works because it's a comic book. In a movie that isn't something like Deadpool, you have to. I feel like, and you don't have to do this, but I feel like it's kind of like. I feel like you have to justify that somehow. And the one complaint I have, as excited as I am to see him, is that in that little clip, he does not. And I understand that kind of it does make sense. He doesn't fit out. He doesn't fit into that scene at all, with the rest of the characters in that scene.
What do you mean?
Meaning everything, and I get it. It makes sense.
Iron Man or his Cap's crew are being cornered, and he's the X Factor. That kind of
is the X Factor
in Iron Man's favor.
But if you're going to gesture
sorry,
with your non-mic hand.
Sorry.
Don't blow my mic. But.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That moment, it was just fun, light, and the fact that they brought back some old school thing under ruse. I remember seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just funny.
It's fun, but in the context of the rest of the preview and what they're implying the rest of the movie is going to be, I appreciate that they're inserting some lightness into, but it is so out of place in that moment. Like I said, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it.
Diffusing the tension with, Spider-Man just stealing Cap's shield.
I do love...
It was pretty cool.
I do love that he calls him under ruse, though. Like
I'm thinking that's how he's first introduced to Iron Man, probably in his Mark I costume, meaning he's in his lame underwear, and then he just calls him under ruse as a result.
I think, and people have also suggested that the costume you see him in is actually a costume that Tony helped him design, So I think that's interesting. I don't know. I'm excited about this. I'm way more excited about this than I am about Batman vs Superman. I think I'm going to see Batman vs Superman.
The reason why I'm more excited about this because, one, obviously I'm a DC man, and two, you've never seen Batman and Superman in the big screen fight. Right. That's kind of what I want to see. The same way, I know Man of Steel is not a strong film, but it's the first film that you've seen Superman just go all out without pulling back his punches. And Zack Snyder does spectacle very well.
Yeah, and what's interesting, and
that's coming out next week.
Yeah.
Are we doing something? We have to. We have to. We have to.
Okay. I'm not.
We saw Daredevil. We have to watch Batman vs Superman.
I'm not that excited about this movie.
But we have to.
Okay. So here's the thing. And I will say that there are a lot of people who have disagreed with this and still being pissed off about it. Angelo, who is one of the people who comes on this podcast, and also Justin, have been these. Jared has also been one of the people who just hated Man of Steel. David Goyer, the guy who wrote Man of Steel and
Blade.
Actually, because he said he got so much flack about it, crafted a very well thought out answer that he gives to everyone. And I forget what podcast he was on. He was being interviewed about it. And he basically went, listen, when people complain that the Superman in Man of Steel is not the comic book Superman, Man of Steel, and he basically came out and just point blank said, no, he's not. And he goes, he's not that character yet. It's like this, you have to, he was just like, in the same way that
he's pretty much the new 52 Superman.
Yeah.
And the new 52 Superman is not that, he's not all smiles.
Yeah.
I think what people want is the Christopher Reeve version. And
but also he made an interesting point. He said that as much people were pissed off about that, the thing that they tried to do was they tried to do kind of the same thing they did with Batman, that Christopher Nolan did, but you can't do as much with Superman. And they tried to kind of think about what if someone like this actually existed in the world, and who this person would be, and what the kind of decisions and mistakes that they would. Which one of the things I do appreciate about one of the things that I said is like, hey, if they don't deal with the fact that basically all these people, all this collateral damage, and it really seems, aside from Wonder Woman, who looks like she's shoehorned in, and I've heard Aquaman is going to be in it too.
Probably a cameo.
Yeah.
If it's a cameo, I will accept
it's
that.
Going to be the theory is that it's going to be at the end, and there's going to be a couple of them. It's going to be everyone, possibly minus Green Lantern.
Okay, you mean
that Aquaman and the Flash are gonna.
Okay.
That basically and it's been ostensibly confirmed that that character, the thing that looks like Doomsday, is Doomsday, and that he's the catalyst at the end of the film. It's gonna be like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and it's like the Flash and Aquaman. It's just gonna be like, yes, this is the event that makes us
brings all individual band members together.
Yeah, but I do appreciate from that preview that the one thing I said is like, hey, if they don't address this in the next film, I'll be very upset. And it looks like the whole impetus for their fight is Batman was in Metropolis and basically went, oh fuck, this is a guy who could destroy the world.
I mean, granted, they're establishing this world where superheroes kind of do exist with the Suicide Squad, but no one to the level of Superman. So obviously that would trigger a Batman coming out of retirement and trying to put him in his place.
Yeah. But David Goyer said that he articulated it a lot better than I'm articulating it right now, but he basically said that the reason why Superman makes all the decisions that he makes, even killing Zod, which is the thing that people had a really big problem with in Man of Steel, was that even in that moment, he is making a decision, Superman, he's still not the Superman.
Yeah.
He's
still growing into the character and to the role of being the planet's savior and hero.
Yeah, and he's not completely like the hero that he should be yet. And so he makes this terrible decision. And granted, it wasn't executed well, but to hear David Goyer describe it, I'm just making sure that, was that this is a decision, and it's going to be compounded in Batman versus Superman that he is now going to have to pay for and regret, for the rest of his life.
I mean,
whatever.
I wouldn't say he's gonna pay for it, but it will just force him to change his strategy in terms of how he handles larger characters. Because in the comic books, he's very controlled with how he attacks. Now we're probably going to be introduced with a smarter Superman who's more
but I also feel
conscious about how he approaches his foes.
And I think oddly similar theme in Civil War. Is this idea that I think I'm theorizing that both of them are going to deal with, and when we get to Daredevil, it's kind of the same kind of issue in Daredevil 2 between the Punisher and Daredevil, is the idea that I almost feel like the end game for Batman vs. Superman is the issue that is the central issue in Civil War, which is basically Superman coming to Batman and going, "You're right. What this Doomsday character or Zod is what happens to me if I'm not kept in check."
Okay.
And things like this, things like me, if I was gone bad, because this actually in some of the comic books comes up in the comic books. It's that Superman gives the
Batman
last of the kryptonite, and he goes,
"You need to check me just in case I go to the dark side."
The purpose of the rest of the Justice League, because Superman, is to be like
the neutralizer.
It's like, no, if things go wrong and I go crazy or something happens to me, I need to have other beings. There need to be other beings that are able to keep me in check.
Yeah.
And I really do. I mean, now that we're talking about this, I really do think that's going to be the end result
or the catalyst that sets up the Justice League.
Because he's supreme in Man of Steel. And that was one of the things that I kind of had an issue with, and everyone else had I don't know how we were discussing Civil War, and now we're such.
Hey, we're nerds.
We're nerds.
We tangent.
Yeah.
Accept it.
He's really arrogant in Man of Steel.
Well, of course he's arrogant. He's never dealt with anyone that's close to his power level.
Yeah.
And
he's never really had to deal with the fact that, like, oh shit, people are like, afraid of me and or worshiping me, and
that's why you have to have a Batman to check him and to make sure he bleeds. Yeah. Also, I think the biggest problem with Man of Steel is that he didn't Superman 2'd him. If you ever remember the film where in Superman 2 he takes like some
the cellophane S,
and just like wrap him. I think that's what we all wanted. Take that S and wrap him and send him to the negative zone or phantom zone.
But it wasn't like.
It should have been.
Okay. So Daredevil. I am up to spoilers, because probably not everyone is.
Spoilers. Fucking John Bernthal is the shit.
Is awesome. So I am up to I'm halfway through episode 8. You have watched the whole series.
Yes.
That's only because I fell asleep at 4.
I fell asleep and I went back. I woke up again and then I continued.
No, I did too. What do you think I've been doing the entire? I didn't get up till 1 p.m. today. What do you think I've been doing the entire time before you arrived? Right before you arrived, I paused episode 8. So yes, John Bernthal is pitch perfect as the Punisher.
Violent, edgy, intense, and he knows his way around ammunition. Yeah. That's for sure.
So I also wanted to point out, and it's either in a Punisher comic book. It's either in the Garth Ennis run
about the decision, the choice that he gives Daredevil to shoot.
Where he chains him.
Yeah, I've been reading about that.
Image for image, line for line, a scene from I think one of the Punisher books. Like it is. I remember. Hold on. Continue to discuss. No, wait. I don't have it here. Yeah. I actually think it's in.
Yeah, I saw clips online showing a few pages of that issue.
It is literally almost line for line, image for image, an adaptation of that scene, and it's great. It's just him, like, you're a half measure, and this is in the comic
just
books,
confronting his morals and to say that, hey, you think you're doing right, but it's not enough for the scumbags that exist in New York City, and I'm the real answer.
What's amazing about that is in the comic books, that's a Punisher who says that after being the Punisher for years and also has known Matt Murdock and dealt with Daredevil for years.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they stuck that way at the beginning.
Well,
here.
this is Frank Castle that's just emerged from the tragedy of losing his family. So anyone who is trying to put his mission down, he's gonna wake him up. I mean, he knows that Daredevil is a good guy, but he's a pussy. You know, he's not doing enough to save the city, whereas Frank Castle will put a bullet.
That scene, and I know a couple people might have problems with when he basically leaves him in the cemetery and he gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might have a problem with that scene.
Why?
Just because the one thing that I think people may or may not have a problem with is Frank's whole speech, which I think when he's in the cemetery
talking about his family,
is there is a segment of the population, especially comic book nerds, who feel that even though this is Frank Castle and the Punisher, like not that long after his family is murdered, there isn't a segment of the comic book nerds who said, no, he should never be the weepy guy.
Oh, dude, you're not too far along.
I know.
Dude, you thought the hallway scene was awesome last season? Yeah. There's a hallway scene with only the Punisher.
Yeah, my thing with that is, I'm at the part where they're about to put him on the stand, and I was like, oh, he's gonna say some shit that's basically
will.
Yeah.
But trust me, when he gets into, you'll know. You'll know. He shows his colors.
It's been, I don't know, like you were saying, it's better than the first season.
It ends on a stronger note.
Okay.
I felt that last season, the fight between him and Kingpin was anticlimactic.
It was. It definitely was. Yeah.
You know.
There's also the argument that Jared has made that the portrayal of the Kingpin in that isn't the Kingpin.
No, he's not Kingpin yet.
That was my argument. Is that he's not that character.
Sorry.
It's okay.
He's not the Kingpin yet. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But his argument was that no, Wilson Fisk was always that, and I was just like, well, you haven't.
You need to be further along.
Yeah.
You have to talk.
The run. Well, there's the whole run in Daredevil where they go into Wilson Fisk's actual, which they did kind of in last season, about like where Wilson Fisk comes from. Mm-hmm. The one argument that Jared made about last season, and this is in the comic books, although it varies, is Wilson Fisk he was just like that. He's a whiner, number one, and number two, that his weakness is Vanessa, and in the comic books, he even has said to Vanessa, "If you ever become a weakness for me, I will kill you myself." And I think that's the big, and my argument was that, okay, yes, maybe that's not the adaptation. My argument was,
I don't think they would go there in the TV show.
It's a good character. It's a great character for the series, Wilson Fisk. It isn't necessarily the best adaptation of the character.
Let's just say, according to these few episodes, he's the best adaptation.
Okay,
we're there. Once again, Daredevil will evolve. Yeah. Elektra will evolve, and Punisher will definitely evolve towards the last two episodes, where you'll see, yes, they have fully blossomed into who they're going to be.
Who they're supposed to be. I like I said, I've been loving John Bernthal. He's perfect in my opinion. Elektra, I'm waiting for.
What do you mean, kind of? I think she's the ultimate wild card. I just love her as a character, seductive and batshit crazy.
Yeah, I like her. I don't know that
her portrayal of Elektra, because come on, she's miles ahead of whatever Jennifer Garner did.
That's not that. I'm not even questioning that at all. I don't know just the actress. portraying her in the series, whether she is as compelling as a character, at least not yet. And this is pretty far into the series for me to not be convinced that she's as compelling a character as I would like her to be. She's not nearly as compelling as Karen is. And I think for me that comes down to the fact that I think Deborah Ann Wall is just a better actress than the woman playing Elektra is. Also, I love seeing Foggy kind of being his version of a badass.
Okay.
As much as
where in the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been a couple of scenes so far where he just
approaching biker gangs and holding his own.
Yeah, he's still Foggy, so he's not Matt. He's not gonna be fighting people or anything. But
he's less annoying this season.
He definitely
less annoying.
Well, because I think what makes it interesting, compelling character-wise, is he's like everyone else. He's been through some shit. He's had a friend who has been lying to him and continues to lie to him about shit.
Yeah.
And
he's worried about his friend, his brother, that he doesn't want to see dead in a ditch somewhere because he's sacrificed himself for the city.
But I really like, because he hasn't always been this in the comic books. He's recently become more of this in the comic books. Now that he knows that he's Daredevil, but they've definitely put it into the show like right away, where it's just like he's constantly like, just like, no, what you're doing right now is bullshit. Sometimes I think maybe even once or twice he even says this line. Yeah. He's like, no, what you're doing right now is bullshit. Yeah.
Especially him being flaky with preparing for his job as a lawyer. Yeah. I mean, you see Matt struggle balancing himself, being the superhero and being a lawyer to defend the people who need his help. So he's right to call him out on his BS.
I also,
but
Elektra
has a really nice tight butt.
That's fair. I really like the redesign on the costume.
The helmet
is really solid. Yeah. I also appreciate that they keep. Because you've watched the entire series, season 2. Melvin Potter does anything. I know this might be a spoiler.
He upgrades his weapon where it retracts.
Oh, okay. Because I was
it's a full Billy Club.
No. Oh, okay.
It's going to be.
But that's not what I was asking.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
like, they've been steadily, and they hinted at it in the first season where you see the design. And then in this, you see him, like, he pulls it back and he's like, hey, I made a thing for myself.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
And he has, like, the little, like, he picks up the little
chainsaw,
the
or
little circular saw thing. So I'm just like, oh, so they're kind of.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he becomes
Gladiator.
Some sort of.
He becomes Gladiator,
a hero or villain.
What I think is interesting about a lot of Daredevil's villains, and what makes Melvin Potter interesting, and he's going to become. If they're doing what he becomes in a comic book he is. Like, I actually really appreciate his character in the comic books, both in the comic books and in the series so far.
Okay.
Is that he is a villain, but he is a villain, number one, out of desperation. And he's also a villain because
due to circumstance, and he doesn't really want to.
But also, you got a hint of this in the first season. You definitely they're setting it up with the Punisher to kind of. This is a continuing theme in the series, is people who, when pushed to certain extremes, become this thing, and also people who can, and how they deal with that. In the comic books, and this may or may not be a spoiler for Season 3, I don't know what they're going to do for Season 3, but the thing with Melvin Potter is, I forget exactly how he gets this, but the Gladiator thing where he's like a supervillain is actually he's schizophrenic, or not schizophrenic. He has multiple personality disorder, because you get the impression in the first season that he's a little touched in the head.
Yeah,
I forget.
But I just thought it's because he's just really slow. I didn't see the fact that he had multiple personalities.
No. He is. It's not that he's slow. He similar to Frank. I forget. I think he was either a buck. He was something, or he was like a mob enforcer, but not like a And so he got injured. And I could be semi-inaccurate about the details, but he's been traumatized.
You could count on the internet for lighting you up for being wrong.
He's been traumatized, like brain-wise, and all the stuff that they're setting up, and if what you're telling me from the end with Wilson Fisk and everything, is at some point, probably in season 3, he's gonna get nudged, where like he splits off and the gladiator personality takes over.
Will emerge. Okay.
Yeah, will emerge. It's not there yet, but they're setting it up, which I appreciate in this, where it's just like he's starting to.
Because I heard through you last year that he is some sort of villain, but I figured that he's just pushing. He may be pushed to desperation just because he needs to protect his wife or girlfriend.
Betsy. And if I remember, here's the thing. I might be
Is Betsy real?
She is, but I don't know how I'm pretty sure, and I have to go back and read the comic books, the more recent comic books with Gladiator, because in the comic books, he's been the villain, and now he's actually working for Matt Murdock as like a security dude.
Okay, for his law firm.
Yeah. And he's trying to rebuild his life. I'm pretty sure Betsy is actually either before he becomes Gladiator or during the point that he's Gladiator. She's actually dead.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's why you haven't. And I have to go back and check this. I'm pretty sure he's saying protect
the body.
Betsy. No, not the body. He still thinks she's alive.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or either she is alive, and it's probably her death, like basically Matt breaking his promise.
Okay. That's
gonna push him over the edge, or she's already dead and he still treats her like she's alive, and him finding out that's like, no, okay, there is no Betsy anymore.
So he
snaps. He can't deal with that.
Okay.
It's the same principle, like, as weirdly enough, as.
So I could only see him as some sort of muscle for a larger.
He is
figure.
not. No, he's Wilson Fisk's like one of Wilson Fisk's like pawns, basically. It's. I'm gonna bring up a weird analogy, but it's like the Fisher King.
Never.
It's basically in the Fisher King, Robin Williams. So Jeff Bridges is like a shock radio DJ. He has this guy who calls in who's a little unhinged, and he basically blows him off or insults him. This guy goes and he shoots up like a restaurant, and one of the people who gets killed in this restaurant is Robin Williams' wife. And because he can't deal with the trauma of that, he creates this other character who is the character who Jeff Bridges meets, who thinks he's a knight.
Okay.
Basically thinks he's a knight of the round table. But I think that's what you're going to see with Melvin Potter, because that's who he is in the comic books. Is like he is a slightly, vulnerable, maybe a little bit mentally challenged dude.
Should be vulnerable to anyone with power who may protect his Betsy.
But it's either going to be her death that is going to push him to separate,
or the realization that
she's already dead. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. I've been digging it so far. Like,
it gets better.
This is what I'm hoping.
It gets better. It's all thanks to Frank Castle.
Yeah.
All thanks to Frank Castle.
Yeah, I
wish you were farther along, man.
It's how compelling he is that makes me worry about the Hand. Although the Hand is, like you said, this is the point that I made. Is like they're secondary villains.
His story is his story is his own. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that intertwined with the hand.
Yeah.
I doubt.
Well, no, he isn't. But what I mean is like that. The Punisher story taking center stage means that the hand aren't gonna really be anything more than evil ninjas. They've only become more than that in the comic books recently. Like a lot of people
recently, they've always been in the Wolverine's universe.
That was the thing. Yeah.
They're also a major, part of it.
Yeah.
They're a major fixture in, Marvel, and of course with Batman. I mean, not the hand, but ninjas in general.
So
they're ninja bats.
So
is that racist to bats?
I don't know. Might be racist to Asians. Which is the issue that has come up.
Let's awkwardly stare at each other.
Yeah.
Say nothing. Like last time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But really excited about Civil War. I feel like, just to put a cap on this, we're gonna have to discuss Daredevil again when I'm
No, we have to.
Which will be soon, probably next week.
I'm gonna. By the time you finish it, I will have seen it probably 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
The entire season. It's that good.
And we are going to see, and we will discuss, probably next week also, Batman vs Superman. But I do think that I am going to be seeing this in the same way I went to see Revenge of the Sith, which is I guess I'll go see it.
Yeah, just go. Don't fight us. Just go. The nerd in you compels you.
Yeah.
To watch it.
Yeah. So let's go eat mac and cheese.
1 batch. 2 batch. 2 pennies in a what's he say?
I forget now.
It's pretty cool. Almost every time he's about to off like a group of bad guys, he says that. I kind of like that.
It's like
it's boss.
It's the what is it? Oh God, what is the Samuel L. Jackson?
The quote from the Bible?
Yes.
Shit, I forgot it. I had that shit memorized
I
too.
did too, and I'm forgetting the beginning. I'm forgetting the beginning. I remember like the middle.
We'll be prepared next time.
I will strike down with furious anger those
and terrible vengeance or something like that.
Those who threaten to and destroy my brothers, and you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon me. But I can't remember how it begins.
We'll have this down.
Yeah.
Next time.
We'll have this. Let's go eat some mac and cheese.
Yes, we should.
Okay.